Sawadika, namaskar, my friends at BookTube. Today I have another poem for you by the great Rabindranath Tagore, however you say the last name. And we're going to really enjoy this. It is a prepared one, so it's coming at you from the past. Yeah, it's some of the format is set up by the um, venue on which it found its online life, which is poemanalysis.com. I used to do some analyze some different poems for them. And this one is called The Wicked Postman. Rabindranath Tagore, poet of The Wicked Postman, was the first non-European and first Asian honored with a Nobel Prize in Literature. Although he wrote in many genres, he won the prize mainly for his poetry, although it is important to know that many of his poems were written as songs. The Wicked Postman is a bhakti poem in a way. Bhakti is a tradition of sacred Hindu poetry expressing love for the god as an epithet in a very sensual, palpable way. This poem is also a moving portrait of a family. Finally, the poem depicts a coming-of-age moment, even a Kusla roman where the boy becomes a writer, an epistolary writer, existential, who writes to fill the void. All right. Here is the poem. I will attempt to do it justice. Why do you sit there on the floor so quiet and silent? Tell me, mother dear. The rain is coming in through the open window, making you all wet, and you don't mind it. Do you hear the gong striking 4? It's time for my brother to come home from school. What has happened to you that you look so strange? Haven't you got a letter from father today? I saw the postman bringing letters in his bag for almost everybody in the town. Only father's letters he read. Only father's letters he keeps to read himself. I'm sure the postman is a wicked man. But don't be unhappy about that, mother dear. Tomorrow is market day in the next village. You ask your maid to buy some pens and papers. I myself will write all father's letters. You will not find a single mistake. I shall write from A right up to K. But mother, why do you smile? You don't believe that I can write as nicely as father does? But I shall rule my paper carefully and write all the letters beautifully big. When I finish my writing, do you think I shall be so foolish as father and drop it in the horrid postman's bag? I shall bring it to you myself without waiting, and letter by letter help you to read my writing. I know the postman does not like to give you the really nice letters. All right, and so this is the setup that is done by the website. It's got the key poem information. 2 is read the poem, 3 is summary, 4 is detailed analysis, 5 structure and form, 6 FAQs, and 7 is comments. So here we go into the summary. The Wicked Postman is told from the point of view of a child. The main bhakti element is the character of the mother waiting in a window in the rain for the father's letter that does not come. The son, who is the narrator, blames the postman for not delivering his father's letters. But in his heart, the son knows that the postman is not to blame. The son then offers to write his mother's letters himself. Detailed analysis, section 1. Why do you sit there on the floor so quiet and silent? ... Haven't you got a letter from father today? The opening section of The Wicked Postman begins with 4 questions. Only lines 3 to 4 and line 6 are expository, and they are mere qualifiers for the questions dealing with weather and time. A child addresses his mother. In the first question, the mother is quiet, and in the follow-up sentence, she does not mind. In the next question, the time of the poem is set in the afternoon, and the following sentence brings a brother home from school. The mention of the school marks a shift to an institution that is cultural as opposed to the first lines, which are suffused with the natural world of the rain, even invading the home, the domestic home. In the last question, another cultural institution is alluded to, the male. And this concerns the absence of the male, the father. The mother now looks strange, no longer minding. The sensual concreteness of the first half of this section, window, floor, rain, gong, frame, feel, smell, sound, has run into an emptiness. There's a tradition of bhakti poems in India where a woman waits in the doorway in the rain for her god, her lover. If you shut the door to all errors, truth will be shut out, wrote Tagore. Kabir wrote, open the window to the west and be lost in the sky of love. The west is the setting sun, the time of our poem. It can also be, as we will see, the western world. Mirabai wrote, I saw the dark clouds burst, dark lord, saw the clouds tumbling down. In black and yellow streams they thicken, rain and rain 2 hours long. See only rain and water, watering the thirsty earth green. Me loves in a distant land and wet. I stubbornly stand at the door. For Hari is indelibly green, Mira's Lord, and he has invited a standing, stubborn love. The Dark Lord in this bhakti poem is Krishna, the seducer of the Gopi girls. Waiting is also a common theme in Tagore's masterpiece, Gitanjali, I've heard it called. The servant or the bride awaiting the master's homecoming in the empty house are images of the heart turning to God. I am only waiting for love to give myself up at last into his hands. These are numbered lines from Gitanjali. 17, I am only waiting for love to give myself up at last into his hands. 47, the night is nearly spent waiting for him in vain. 52, Lord of my heart, no more shall there be for me waiting and weeping in corners. 66, there was none in the world who ever saw her face to face, and she remained in her loneliness waiting. Section 2, I saw the postman bringing letters in his bag, ... I shall write from A right up to K. Tagore was fond of the theme of the postman's relationship with children. He wrote a story called The Postman, about a postmaster, about a postman who, more indifferent than wicked, who kept an orphan girl named Ratan as a servant. Then, when his request for transfer is denied, quits his post and leaves the poor girl heartbroken. In Tagore's play, The Post Office, an orphan Amal is dying, and imagine he lives in the post office and is waiting for the king's letter to come and make him a postman so he can go out. But the king's letter comes, and it is death. In the play, as in our poem, the postman never appears. It is unlikely the postman brings letters for almost everybody in the town. Many will not learn to read or have even left the town to know or have ever left the town to know anyone to write to. But children are prone to exaggeration. The next 2 lines are very important. The boy narrator imagines that the postman keeps his father's letters. Then instantly he writes that the postman is wicked. The parallelism of these 2 lines and the rapidity with which the speaker leaps to the idea of a wicked man makes it plausible that the wicked man is associated with the father. Now the child tries to take on the role of the adult, the parent, telling his mother not to be unhappy, giving orders for the maid for supplies, and forming the project to write his father's letter himself, another substitution. And while he boasts that he will make no mistake, his inadequacies for the task are pointed out by the truncated nature of his alphabet. His ending on K is no doubt significant. Krishna as a baby stole the butter, and later teased the Gopi girls. Then again, K could be for Kolkata, the capital as spelled in Hindi, Bengali. Section 3. But mother, why do you smile, ... to give you the really nice letters? Now the mother is gone from silent, not caring at the beginning of The Wicked Postman, to a middle where something is the matter, then unhappiness. And now she is smiling. She is done mocking her son's inadequacy, but is truly pleased with her son, nicely as father. Son is not foolish, he is ruled and measured letter by letter. Here Tagore has brought the father and the postman together in the same line as, at last, as father, the horrid postman, ... the horrid postmans. The poem concludes, I know the postman does not like, and the literal reading of the postman is as the subject of the verb, but the poetic meaning of the postman is as the object of not being liked. Tagore is ambivalent about the mail. On the one hand, he celebrates its potential to connect people and communities, but he also saw it as an instrument of colonization and of self-colonization. The Oedipal situation for the son here, as it usually is, not sexual but existential. The child seeks to become his own father, to be sui generis, its own origin and cause, and thus to defeat death. But this is quite a bit too much to put on our little lad, who is just trying to soothe his mother while protecting himself from his resentment of his father's absence by projecting his hostility onto the obliging postman. Structure and form. Tagore wrote The Wicked Postman in free verse because it's very conversational with the child addressing his mother and asking lots of questions. The poem is not one of Tagore's more lyrical, sonorous poems. After the initial imagery, the poem is quite situational. The only symbolism resides in the figure of the postman. Nonetheless, the poem is strong in characterization. As we watch the mother's emotions change, we develop a feeling for her. As we watch the boy struggle with the family situation, we also develop a feeling for him. The absent father and the brother on his way home from school are not painted in any detail. The poem describes a dyad, almost a dialogue, although the mother remains quiet and silent from the beginning. In this way, it resembles a letter where only one side speaks. The form of the poem is not, however, epistolary. Frequently asked questions. In what year did Tagore win the Nobel Prize? Tagore won the Nobel Prize in 1913, the first non-European to win the award. What did fellow Nobel laureate Yeats have to say about Tagore? I read Rabindranath every day. To read one line of his is to forget all the troubles of the world. In which Indian language did Tagore write? While Tagore did write often in English, he also wrote pedagogical books, mainly in Bengali. Did Tagore write any novels? Tagore wrote 8 novels. Chaturanga, Chokar Bali, Char Odai, Home in the World, Bora, Relationships, Nuka Dubi, and Last Poem. Was Tagore knighted? Yes, and at first accepted, but he later revoked his knighthood in protest over the Jallianwala Bagh massacre in 1919. And that is my exposition of the poem by the Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore, The Wicked Postman. Thank you.